share. Would I want to have in a movie? I don't know. What would life was a sound? Maybe we are come on, Debbie. Maybe no honorable, Pierre from the honorable. Maybe my poor was so full. Maybe you were new. Maybe I saw you some more Canada than you because it's a go hot. Nobody wants fair. Would they want you to get
yeah. Would they want no fire? Who? What to him, rather? It's a amount to me. Oh, may you move a dead. Ya brabo be ye fe ne nupe no ma ya pa be ye bie ye pro hiama ya kwa be papa wo sikanso ni medi hia o okoje sikira na wa bra ye mponyo no amemu oboni esikonto bo hini ye hu fitempo a ye se koko ona wo be kasem no ya hye won funu mu ma timemu fu na ye brehi dollar bako sidi timinto drobo ayede Draventimento, 24 crosses, so I won't tinko. Kakroye bedi su boys was a tinko. Kenya Sampina Manmo. Kwesi, Ayare, Hunyum, Dina, Hashe, Makume, Mama. Yeah. And your door, Hunyum, Namito. Kwesi, Ayare, Hunyum, Dina, Hashe, Makume, Mama. Da. Yeah. Cut out to share any broye. Rebels ye betu se by red. Mudi yedin, Kojebesia. Namone Mabusia for a beche. Ye quite on ya was a canene. My canea wasn't quite a new senior there. And you will refuse to good time. No, a boo. Yeah. You belly fool, where they kill you. So corruption and dirty games. And I will refuse I'm really yeah. Now say what you swap for. Everyone you can need and I want you for. But since the day you can't hold rumble, who soon you will buy a better set up for? And you don't who you na me too.
All right, episode for 1 hour with Munufi. You started with Kwesi Swat, not a love song. So you may I made the pie because you see Munsemna a touchy nipa abrabo ewa Ghana. Or say, what do you do kwa jebosia na mene mabusian for abechedi? The only time in my history as a human being on this planet we call Earth, mahusi eden Canada kono. Enom champagne, eya bra yewra Ken Ofori Atta de Ghana di kwakwa jebosia. Obaya, papa ise waya ade. Enti Ghana as a country no ye mo na baso. Enti ode Ghana di kwakwa jebosia obaya no ode Ghana di no ebe ye party, ye fe the Kenke party. About your wow, hear me out doubt no. You can cross check because on this particular channel, 1 hour with Munufi, I just produce the facts. I just don't spread lies. Men can't asem engu bi so abere minim. So the only time in my life I'm who said in Canada kono. E de nom champagne e yewra Ken Ofori Atta o de Ghana din ekokwa jebosia. Me pa cho say nane da wudi kan premier. Me din any William Munufi amankona channel e 1 hour with Munufi and NPP for there. All right, I wish for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama e mount stage. Na President John Dramani Mahama can sembi di chire wiase leaders, especially America, Israel, Iran, and Russia, and these kind of countries. President can say we no unya ensembo para. Pacho yenti ensempotia. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama ekaye.
To conclude, let me put the Gavi replenishment in context. Gavi is seeking to spend $9 billion over the next 5 years from 2026 to 2030. And that is to immunize 500 million children across the world. These children's life will be safe to grow up to become the scientists, engineers, nurses, teachers, and doctors of tomorrow. This morning while I was lying in bed, I did the research. And I realized that one B-2 Spirit bomber that dropped bombs on Iran recently cost $2.13 billion. If you work the math, what Gavi is seeking is the value of 4 of those B-2 bombers. Surely the world can afford the value of 4 B-2 bombers to save 500 million children. It's a choice we have to make. It's a choice we have to make between taking lives and saving lives. And I'm sure that we will save lives instead of taking lives. And so, on behalf of the children of Ghana, I say thank you to Gavi. I say thank you to all who have pledged today. Thank you very much. God bless you.
All right, so His Excellency John Dramani Mahama catch the real leader say B2 bombers and sika. Yede to yede kunipa na adan ye use say sika no emfa save lives. And mabunu and kwala nketwa a ye ku omo ene no ankasa sika na yede top bombs we no ye betimi dey improve upon their lives. Na e china omo ma be scientist e de nemapa abawiase. You know how good and brilliant leaders speak. Your leaders and your leaders. Your leader be wa okasa abrofo nyina timi bom nsem. And this is open amode no. Anytime I listen to the president John Dramani Mahama speaking, I think say, or I foresee the man is speaking wisdom, sense. Kenyans asem. Actually, we as leaders, because we cannot afford to be killing our own. We cannot be killing human beings, all because we want natural resources, or we are fighting for things that we don't even need on this earth. If we are saying Biden about pay. And the president instead say to toss our bombs, I can see it. Neither quite fighter jets, I can see it, and I say for no. Or say aden na yen use our resources no. Emfa develop we ase. Emfa mwatima muni. Na nipa ho ento no. Because always a particular plane way that way nipa da sani edisika twitwi di akwa akoye se odi be kuni nu a it doesn't make sense. But sa na we ase na turn to. Because instead of building human being, we seem to be building the machines that will destroy human being. That is the message that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Actually, we are saying say there'll be plane way na makwakote and amuye or somebody is ordering this particular plane. No, a juma plane way is security me no. See a can a bit me save a lot of lives. Enti mesremo mamo maye nkuni pakwa. But sometimes we need to think because amamu no we elect people to come and govern us, not to come and kill us. And he said, when you become a leader, to say Trump or nominate and say for us, you only come, the only idea you have is to go and kill people. That then it doesn't make sense. Then there's no point in even electing you to come and govern the people because we are so we need to build a better place. But one major problem we are seeing when they say Ntokwa Enchada. And I also advise the president as a nation, we also need to think. Because Israel, Ghana for free Ghana ko Israel ko bompa no, and ye play ni bombs akese. Iran o yan krem for ye nu muslimi for ekoka mo homo ko bompa e o meka no omo so ye bombs akese. We as a country dey na ye mpaebo na ye bo. Let's assume say Ghana ye resources na ye no. We cannot even have fuel for 3 months in the country be power yankasa electricity. So we all need to also think, Mr. President, we need to think that the next generation will come out with something different, not trying to do the same thing. I know, advice and all the man, it's good for the world, it's good for the nipe we are saying. But you also have to know, say, human being naturally and reasonable. And we as a country also, we also need to do things to defend ourselves. Mr. President, we also need to develop things like this because entimi nko say yetemanum na de bia nema yekoso no mpaebo na yafa bible na nkremofo so tiam left and right de nko ami wa no so we beto share so ne nko yini ade ko defend. We also need to be thinking like that because Iran timitena Iran ho nkremoma sorry say bomb no moye Israel so me krito for bomb no moya. What are we doing as African countries? We also need to think. We need to reason. And that is the message of President Edemaya. But this is my take on it. President, why are there? Because your speech is very good. But we as African, the continent we call African, we also need to rethink. We also need to do things differently than what our predecessors did. How are we going to develop ourselves or defend ourselves? And since you could depend on America, on Russia, or whoever, we need to strategize and rethink as a society. African and Yankwalagoro. What are we doing as a continent? That is the message. Also, Mr. President. But you can't now they're not so can. Senebeya ebitimi aboa Ama mabunu so mobile, Mr. President, you are advocating for them. No, they wouldn't also be thinking say Bible is the solution to solve people's problem, but rather no, we should implement practicabilities and do things in our society. Enti menso media me be ka hono na busan for ene ye ba be di agoro keto bi e wo ha agoro na ba bi di no me pa cho so mo kai papa yi ye bra Ken Ofori Atta di finance minister di post akese pa e Ghana me ba be kire papa yi ba bi o hye ene niema o de ba Ghana ene niema o be ye ni be bebre nim Ken Ofori Atta o. So it's my duty on this particular live show to tell you who he is and what he does. About your question, you can also bring it up on board. Ken Ofori Atta can sing be maybe about your because he chooses his words very carefully. Match it up, papa. The reason why our number not shut at the fufu. And to listen to this particular video very carefully, please listen to it very carefully.
Huge population we have in our continent, and the challenge is whether we can transform this into a demographic dividend or whether it will be a disaster. Infrastructure naturally offers a way to create employment and jobs for lots of people. So what the Africa Development Bank is seeking to do in this investment forum is how do you bring the various parties together, given that we have the market, we have the future resources, and you have a gap between our savings and investment needs. How do we then present the continent to de-risk it, for investors to realize that there's a new wave of change on the continent in which these resources can be deployed properly to have productive ventures which will then pay back the resources. There is over $40 trillion or so of investment capital that is not being cascaded into the continent. I think with AFDB's involvement, it will de-risk it, we will get better prepared bankable projects, and we'll also get investors of integrity so that the development that is needed will continue.
All right, it's here Ken Ofori Atta say Africa no. And what my main fast or say Ghana, my main say Ghana nkwa. Positions na a lot of resources are we need investors to come and invest and then bring in the needed resources in epe. So you could foresee from this particular audio say or video say here Ken Ofori Atta, what would Ken Ofori Atta be ano? His focus was on investment. And or use Ghana as a portfolio to invest in the country. Na papa yunkwani the only nipa or be the finance minister. We are. Wababa dan say be kurofo na yebe na yenya no. Nti from finance minister to obi a Ghana man nyina atone the red list atare na so se yehia no se omra na omeyi nsema no papa etete ote corners nkwana why na gbe say alata mwe Ghana mwe dem amemba mwe no doje Yera Ken Ofori Atta no Pacho, I'm building up a case for you to follow until to wasi na tea nsem ni ye. 1 hour with Munufi, I make serious analysis. Na mama wankasa wa bi when say nsem am be kire no. E bia na won te da. Papa ba bi o hye. Jumadi a wadi wa Ghana and who he is what I'm going to present to you today. Pacho, and you always know the BS edi amount for atem. Sometimes I present issues to you for you yourself to analyze them and then understand whatever is going on here. Good. And the OSP, declare Papa wanted no. After your markings, Ekojina Parliament of Ghana and say, Papa Eba Ghana in May. Or can we end a majority leader and say, now Ken Ofori Atta can one member of Parliament? At the airport in Abakan was a waha. But you ain't some half in your markings can you? Yeah, you could be someone about half in your markings say, May nature I'm a Jew, where we Ken Ofori Atta ewa.
To assure the nation that this side of the House will do all it can to ensure that the member, the Honorable Ken Ofori Atta, avails himself, his lawyers, Mr. Speaker, in a letter dated today, the 18th of February 2025, have written to the OSP, and for the avoidance of doubt, I shall read the content aloud. It's addressed to the Special Prosecutor, our redirection to attend the Office of Special Prosecutor. It reads, we acknowledge receipt of your letter dated the 17th of February 2025. We respectfully indicate that our client's post-mark date for his return cannot be any time before 6 to 8 weeks after the possible surgical intervention in March stated in the Mayo Clinic letter. Our client hopes that taking into account the surgery dated the 20th to 21st of March and recuperation period, he should be able to back to this jurisdiction between 14th May and 30th May 2025. We hope you find this date reasonable and same can guide your office in fixing a date for the in-person attendance of our client to your office for investigation. Having clarified the purpose and length of our client's absence,
Leader.
we hope that the tag of a
Leader.
wanted person.
Hold on, please. Yes, majority leader.
Mr. Speaker, what the minority leader is doing is conveying a communication from the lawyers of Honorable Ken Ofori Atta to this House. Mr. Speaker, the rules of this House are clear on communications. If you go to Order 65, it is clear on communications to the House. Who qualifies to communicate to the House and who qualifies to convey the communication to the House? They are clearly spelled out in Order 65, and I think that what he's attempting to do is to convey a communication by the lawyers of Ken Ofori Atta to this House, which is clearly wrong. Mr. Speaker, it is clearly wrong to attempt to be the conveyor of communication from Ken Ofori Atta's lawyers to this House. I think that it is not acceptable, and we cannot accept communication from the lawyers of Ken Ofori Atta to this House. He is not a member of this House. He is not a Minister of State. And so there's no basis for this House to be receiving communication from the lawyers of Ken Ofori Atta. We haven't summoned him before any of our committees. He is not to appear before a committee. We are not investigating him. So on what basis is his lawyers communicating to us?
All right. Enti one day ana Honorable Afenyomakins ekotena parliament oye. Honorable Afenyomakins, minority leader ekojina Ghana's parliament. E pick microphone, e pejanensa, Mr. Speaker, e friend, oh minority leader, kasa. Osore ya. Osi ye Ken Ofori Atta lawyer for actually the amount of Afenyomakins o mekanchira parliament for say Ken Ofori Atta beba Ghana in May. But you mean etwam dada no. Beba Ghana in May. Enti Ghana for ye nyanto base ne papa no e operation owia obeba. Eho and the majority leader bisanse na asema we kan kire ye fa ye ho ben. Say office of the special prosecutor I invite Ken Ofori Atta no so wo ma. Na the lawyer for we because obeba in May special prosecutor na say mo go communicate channel na ye at parliament ade obeka kire say apede. Ana Ken Ofori Atta we minister. Ana we member of parliament because ye am friend wa ha. Committee be any parliament ya to nsa friend so dey na obeka kire wa he. E pa cho May no etwam. May etwam. June and then June 26 or something. A dear Potin and Afenyomakins wanted to seek to tell Ghanaians say the entity of person of country Ghana for our parliament of the house say Ken Ofori Atta so baba in mayor. Abra no nim say Ken Ofori Atta emba. Ghana we have crossed the limit to say empanyifo bitimi gina yanim ehye da etum futuro gu yani edi atem say sebe mano da so mena so ye yankwasiafo.
Jimmy for party job.
What's your NPP again?
A Jimmy for party.
What you say? Because NPP yes, some Bulgaria can hear. I don't even understand why Obi a nipa why majority leader of Ghana paying. We a lawyer nimuya. I got in a parliament. I got asema who names asema who can tro and okwa kudi actually Ghana for. Yet nobody said anything to him. Ejai no emane kan asema obeka. We don't need to build nations like this. Because they say in Kwane the my idea. I'm sorry, be a bit maybe. They be saying Ken Ofori Atta say, Ira. And then our country Ghana for so he's sorry. He's not guilty. But hardship in Ghana and Kwane any problem, madam. Whilst he was a finance minister. It is a was a bizarre, and you know because he's not guilty of anything. Whilst even as a minister, na Ghana for a country said economy needs a mark money more heading, move yes he can. Also that he doesn't care. And funny home. And he's not guilty of anything. And this also one kasa wasem NPP for us mom country Ghana for no. And the next and the people will say now say always so here na adie pot in ma afenyo markets ko gina parliament obeka actually say papa nto obeba bra afenyo markets nim say asema wo ka no oboa NPP party no say party na aye lose to the sense say unhu ni popotin a obeko hold no so a responsible person say ukobisa say nsema mo kan die na de bae. Because I don't even understand why African Americans because go in parliament. I did to actually Ghana for nyina. Knowing very well said the man will not come. Papa na doje wa yera also Ghana. The entina go to actually Ghana for. We need to ask our leaders this kind of questions because we are all Ghanaians. Ken Ofori Atta a Ghanaian, African Americans we are Ghanaian. So you cannot hold the constitution of the country and then lie to the people, thinking very well say the people are idiots. But we are not idiots. We know what we want. If I say you Ken Ofori Atta, I can't say Ken Ofori Atta. What did Ken Ofori Atta even stand for? Who say a Priscilla be by? We need to understand you Ken Ofori Atta. What does he even stand for? The first research I did no, and the two Ken Ofori Atta say, oh yes, all the Ghana call IMF, and also be deal throw the Ghana for. Look, I say Ghana call IMF. Ken Ofori Atta say Ghana, young call IMF and net, young call IMF for China, and we are not. And so I can't ask me, yeah, or 10 in a one Ghana in IMF. I want African Americans style. He learned it from the man himself, Ken Ofori Atta himself. And why would a finance minister, when he was the then finance minister, walk onto parliament, tell parliamentarians that Ghana is not going to IMF and we are not going to IMF, and then within the next day, Ghana in IMF. That was Ken Ofori Atta. Maybe you have forgotten. That is why I've taken my time to address all these kind of challenges, all these kind of things to you. As a nation, I'm building upon a case. You do what? Papa is surviving removal be a shocky Ghana Nibia. My Ghana say Emma members of NPP Parliament in Ankasa called the president then. Now the Danko Kufuor can say, Unia was a wafa sena or Shehono. Ade mamona papa ibono, krono papa ibon or say Ghana mino, enti sakeno. President said that. Mama Ken Ofori Atta uncle IMF for me, Okoba, me who ade ameyeno. If I just okay. Emma papa bi kura be catch they say when they were calling for this man's removal no, yes, that poison the question kiyum kunu ton pene. Enti NPP they say gangsters ewom. Ah we dey go be clear way free ho because you want to do better for the nation that we call Ghana. Ken Ofori Atta I'm presenting to you 10 different things as who Ken Ofori Atta or the kind no. Who papa na say one kind there. E wa awesome. Ayo. I'm presenting it to you. Acho Ken Ofori Atta free achem ahimfie. Achem ahimfie o mo a e ma bi mutu o mo di from achem mafia for no Ken Ofori Atta. We shouldn't forget that he's part and parcel of them. Pacho abra nipa bi call president ma nanado was onyini no nanado nsem o kan no e na medato ama no or say the current difficulties are not his fault, so why do I sack him? Or on what basis? Nanado catch him and say na Ken Ofori Atta dey na why ofa Ghana sika onfa we Ghana sika omia na me dey na menye no or no say oni hwe awaye enti wa wo fi say Ken Ofori Atta edi bon no o pese oba catch him say e dey na me menye nanado nsem o catch the Ghana for no acho irim fie e kai ye ho Priscilla ye bebo bobo so aba ye bobo so ba enti se unim se papa na o ka achemfo no ho a o ka ho bi ye nko ye nim ye du abati ase Ken Ofori Atta no yo bi he had a strong network. NPP party no kasa no obi ada because President Nado ye ne body or no na na guru free kwala brim ne wo fa say ne cousin say ne cousin say ne nim because me nim ukofa gabi asaroche da konma asanti bedi atu mo and those kind of thing group no. So the network in NPP no Emma umba yes Ghana na eyo mo dia so they should hold Ghana to ransom. No mo shake Ghana sika nyina no bi antimi nka hwe. President Akufo-Addo kan hobi, Gabi kan hobi. Nana asanti bedi atu e kan hobi. You fi grant mo kan hobi. Is mpanyifo akuku da ma na egu Ghana no ma fa Ghana say Ghana yo majapade no. That network na you reckon Ofori Atta e kan hobi. That is the 4th point. I'm presenting to you 10 different scenario na who you reckon Ofori Atta we who know. Presela o white dress no yebaba so. You reckon Ofori Atta gina Ghana for yinanim kan just on one salary bia o Ghana. Was the finance minister no? Ono oye na lesula la o de che Ghana. Also on Jessica Bianti, say Ghana sika yera, enye no honest moba because no salary kwa onji bi da. Because ono wa ye adwuma kese o man numa ono wo sika o sika ni da enye mo musika fian na mo beka say ono no o jiska. Onji hwe oni obi akura ni asem. Na fe papa end up say controversies on na asarande ne ho. Enu bi ne ne a and the Office of the Special Prosecutor abon 5 different cases and nyina no ketwa bi anim. Enti Ken Ofori Atta na ushi na no shata de fufu no. Osarande ne ho with controversies nkwa ba na o na enka COVID-19 sika yesi papa yedi ehwa yehu yekotu amenase yakwakosi na sika cathedral yedi ajapa na ajapade ne nesefo nyina papa ye ho bon hu bi. Kisensem no fa Ghana asemu ya Ken Ofori Atta jinambi ukopim ha Ken Ofori Atta jinambi asemu presela afini edu de so the Bible man Ken Ofori Atta minim se na ono obi nim na ye adwuma se na ono wan na ye adwuma minim ba bi sia papa bi ya no okojira parliament bi so okokasa first he will quote the Bible quote Bible no shata de fita no kasa no ato ne bo no yi to ho brofo yi obone 1 but if you video we na ye me chira papa in some na papa ekan how he speaks.
Huge population we have in our continent, and the challenge is whether we can transform this into a demographic dividend or whether it will be a disaster. Infrastructure naturally offers a way to create employment and jobs for lots of people. So what the Africa Development Bank is seeking to do in this investment forum.
But you want how papa tonebo no kasa tonebo ase no hwe Ghana fudi o say grofo mi omo grofo mu tiati o grofo tiati o me the Bible yi dada omo hi be he puru let's can I Ken Ofori Atta butum Ghana ya mo bodo do yetisika so come there o man nyo hia man Allah talai nara se de Allah Ken Ofori Atta yayi komi yayi dewa. Obviously Ken Ofori Atta no economic magician. Ya bo papa tamana na do weni aba na aye huhu. Say Ken Ofori Atta na baba finance minister. And then before to see Joma papa idea so no economy ne dey wa we agu ni team Mamudu ba omi akura nkoda papa bibia onim ye. So we shouldn't forget say abra Mamudu ba omi ye so president edi no. Ghana for bisan say Mr. Vice President Ema sikasem mo beje konwa sikasem na se atota pansam ade na wo ye fa ho o se nko bisa Ken Ofori Atta no onya finance minister he is like a driver's mate enti so onya steer na e na obekire Ghana for say
me pese mo first year no ema me
enti Mamudu ba mi ase ka mo de steer na ma na e na obeti Ken Ofori Atta to ba mo man fa man nto no o se on fa ho enti Mamudu ba mi obisa na o se ko Ken Ofori Atta ho enti Ken Ofori Atta na ye so ye economic magician no. Because Ghana for to say, no be automatic data bank or Ghana, there's no new packet. And several president of Nanado Danko Akufo-Addo a ball Ken Ofori Atta abaso bebre. So a hard-working man, or a highly patriotic, and an outstanding national treasure. Or just say Ghana no TC where no one will be able to take Ken Ofori Atta or a national treasure, national asset and kasa. But sometimes I believe in this kind of ways and Nanado Danko Akufo-Addo using. When you say somebody is an outstanding national treasure, that's that person no, it transformed from being a minister of finance to the nipa mining in everywhere na China. Also, I empower an outstanding national asset. This is the biggest national asset. The dear shatter baby yɛde ne din akɔ red notice so na bi nsi Ghana na sɛ finance minister bi a ne din akɔ red notice so a yɛhwɛ no baabi a ampa ɔyɛ national asset ankasa. So Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, some people think that he uses words and he doesn't choose them carefully. But for me, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, a very smart person, say, oh, choosing the words very, very carefully. Ghana, I am mobododo. O my nyo hiamai. It is ikaso. And so come the end. Also, when somebody uses this kind of words, the way the person play with the words, you can understand, say, the choice of words and people use, and yadia onimadia oyo, onimadia potia oye. I studied international relations at the master's level. And see, I know when somebody chooses words, I know how political actors choose their words. They tend to choose words very carefully. And the Utien and Ado, 2014, Moebana, you could see, say, papa, again, I said, oh, yeah, Juma, Unimyansa, or presenting Ken Ofori Atta to the sense, they were very high people. Ghana, no, so many were Ghana, no, and that is what they made Ghanaians into believing. So, hey, the team we never understood, they had the men. These were the words of the president then, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So when somebody tells you that we have the men, now describe, see, Obi say, we're an outstanding national treasure, and it is true. They say Namakano. So Nana Addo chose his words very, very, very carefully. Yeah, Simon. The 9th point is before joining mainstream politics, Ken Ofori Atta was a private businessman with over 25 years of experience in investment banking, although he has interest in insurance, real estate, and pharmaceuticals. He founded Data Bank with 2 business associates, James Akpo, and Newaye Togwe Afede, and Kelly Gajipo. No, they were all business people. So as a nation, when you have somebody like that, that's what Obase Obabe Gani Mine ya Obiaba Jinedi. Obiaba Jinedi. Minia bright the message, but let me take my time to read it very carefully. Also, I stand to be corrected. Don't we have political citizens in Ghana 6 months after a major elections and the whole country is still in political and election mood, watching you from US? Minia Medase. That is what NPP people have started doing, and I'm very surprised at them because NPP party, they seem not to even understand why they went into opposition. And you could see the party, let me use this word. Stable, say, almost that is something I see from NPP. Because when the infighting now, they are fighting, and you could see, say, prepared enough. That is the right word to use. Intiminia bright. I don't even understand why Obi Watina Kumyaso. NPP as a party, no mutena opposition for 8 years. I mean, from free Kufo Babe Winia Ban, and now the Dankwa Akufo-Addo in 8 years with Baumia. Then Ira Atamels and Jomama 8 years. Then Mubenya Kumyano for 8 years. It's Ghana for assessing some Amokan in the last 8 years. Any Abraham Muabamu 8 years, 16 good years in the Kenny in a boom. Any see Debbie. John Mama is far better than Mamu 16 years than my way see no. Much Ghana quite with in some pa and in some day. Meanwhile, a mamma power and a month me and Yapping Timon Quatranchain and I don't know.
I would say to the people of Ghana, I'm sorry. We are sorry for the poor work we have done.
And when Ghana for assess the poor work you people did, they say you should go and sit down. After the year to about the John Mama so may redeem country, no more research here. 2 months, Panama starts to say there be more than a year. Now, your mama ni ma here. Me wa feeling independent to about man. You talk about 4 years in the year. It's bright. You are right. Our mama Ghana na bet say be bet say what that we near politics. That is why on this particular show I once said when President John Dramani Mahama say you better MMDC so about me I says I totally disagree with that. And because I don't want Ghana to be in a position say mine the BS or that when politics in here. We don't even think about how to develop the nation. There has never been a show and a show where they be national development. Ye nyebi Ghana. Ye that ye nia aboa kwasia wa Jimmy sebe o ma metwe ena we anya adwuma ye ena we edon kwa. Emfa hwe so mre man no. Ye pese develop man na enye ba bi esen ke ye kono no. Timini asma can I'm 100% support with you. I see a developing mind to the level say you be manyanse ni nkwala mo wa cheni be hu se da bi yenya se new generation bi they were thinking about Ghana omo dwen Ghana hu nti omo ma Ghana no e develop to a different level enye ne ne ye but I always do my best as a person say meet me I always want us to remember things then we other way around us no you build upon it in the future. That is what I've been doing. I'm doing my best. Always now I'll get it right. And I want us to build a community of family on this particular show, 1 hour with the Munufie. And the bright people just when you subscribe and let's discuss as a family. Na yenje Ghana in Siho. That is my motive here. That is why I'm a bar. I don't even insult people. I just present national issues. Mama Yankasa no, yedi yadwen no afa ho e develop mind kakra. Correct. Sometimes we need to do things like that. And here Ken Ofori Atta the only nipa obey Finance Minister of Ghana or den Canada kono every champagne. A day until I was the Ghana dia kwa jebosia. Now the 9th point now me de buy in addressing who Ken Ofori Atta is no. They say ne special prosecutor here no, Yoku here no, NIB here no, Ghana ankasa so here no, and our doje. We ni maybe owa chenema we don't maybe owa kwatete hodi na twa na picture kre afabre say papa na say oh yeah ma sia kwa no ha o say ba for now de wadan ne ho botokura e na o hye bom nko na dwo na opie ukodidi ba na obetwa du na kwesi o akwa ho. But I keep saying the NPP produce nipa mienu bi I think say they were very smart na santi be there to Ken Ofori Atta omo ina mo biane kwa abruchi omo so omo yare nti ontime magana asanti be dey to dey kwa na ma ya ntoba ne kwa nwi no so yare na sa obiane kwa ye nti na o wi asanti be dey to say u bi say the question bia o mo say yare me wo the picture kora ma out say hu ba bi wo hopes in kwa na say e ono na amana bubu agudam but hopes in ntimi fa picture bia ma say am pass asanti be dey to eti wheelchair mu and now dam pass wa say be nte wo so na no so ntu ye hu bi meaning say e trick na omo me no plan e no mo ye. That is how they do things. Before.
Jimmy for party job.
Do much here. There be a binyasem. Hey, Ghana. In a Ghana for.
Ghana need you.
Hey, asem. And there was a for in 1 hour with the Munufie. Say what question be in the comment section. We'll be the banner for the discussing on it. Now for the leaders in the mono. Be more. Do you think that they are right? Our decisions are taking. That is the first one. Amibisa. Decision not be taken. Is it in the interest of the nation and also in their own interest? That is the first thing. Do we have to leave them? Yeah, now we no more making more mistakes. No more from quality mistakes. No more no. Yeah, from much as Kelly ABA. And I said, do we have to get a standard form? Be a yama leader. Yes, if I can't wait so. Because my who said your mama asserted that kind of standard on Edema MMDCs say we are more 25 million Ghana cedis this year. But quite when I'm person from Faso. Is it the right way? And I said, do you think say we have to let them choose or do their own things and then they will come out with the mistakes no more, you know? Normally the mistakes then are we in that position yet? And I said, do we always have to spoon feed them, tell people the way we should go about things? That is also another question I think say in another discussion, no, we need to follow this kind of discussion. If they are say a national discussion, because me my dream, no. Yema obi sika and yema obi positioner. I see a many partner can say on developing mind in his own style. Now, for he or she should be accountable to that. But say about the be an obi na chire na dia wanya then that becomes a problem. All right, so Priscilla say, absconding so early after the elections by those two just confirms that they knew they have some criminality to hide. That is what I think because these two, no. Especially the last and TB day too, yera no yera na me adwen ho amenti ase. Because he can't tell me say yare na de na kodoje. Abra sabi yehu no, I'm sorry. Yehu no ba bia so yare. I mean share no ba bia. Obi aso fa picture bia ma se papa yi yare de ba bi nti enko na ngo hwe no. Nti Priscilla you also right. Because nti mase to ba wi aso Ken Ofori Atta so sa obi na adan ya say okosa na ho yare. Nti Ghana hospital bi be o no. Osan ho yare o as a finance minister we hold these big positions no men ka say yare nkwa bruchiri ba wo kona mind say here wa you should be able to come because as the conditions now what that one there onye bedridden onye obi a odampa so Santi be there 2 days, stroke na yeno. That is what we heard. Me need any evidence, but that is what I heard. Stroke na yeno. Intina odaho. But say you know, when you know, you knew say these people had some mentality. They planned or they foresaw something. That something was going to happen. Intima ye came yana and said, "Mayano ababe cheye." But this is 1 hour with the Monofie. WhatsApp line. Eddie Edge Monson was screen. Me didn't any William Monofie. At any point in time, if you think like discussing anything with me, I'm free. You can just call, WhatsApp, in the comment section. You can also be part of it. If you also think that maybe the sound or the video quality or something we need to improve, and so please feel free and tell me, because every day this is a learning process. I do things by myself. There's nobody here. We need ghost team. I think I need one camera somewhere here. Maybe to shoot for you to see what I do here. It's all by myself. There's nobody here. I do things. I do my own research, and I always make sure say me new be at them. I present issues. Now if and then if there's nothing, I think say I might end it here. Now if you get other time to watch other channels, so bit me a share and so many budget. Now if you more enko. Then every day, if I don't even come live, I'll present videos. Send a bear in with me discussing. Send a macan meeting any William Munufi Amankona. Nti ye bonus a akoso kakrakra. NPP party there.
Another Jimmy, MPP for Mama Jimmy, what Jimmy Papa will stay in opposition forever. MPP for Nkwasia for Pa, my Jimmy MPP for Jimmy, me will be stupid people. I don't know why I belong to that political party. You are idiots.
All right, here on Nabo Kennedy or Henry Japan's NPP for are idiots, so we are going to go after Ken Ofori Atta. Now, he will be a papai eshe. They are Pinaba. Mokai is a papai. Encrophobia pages, Kako share Panama tax saving me. Now you Ken Ofori Atta Edi Ekaho. We are. Sometimes we want to go deep on these kind of things, but I think always we move your mojuma because we have a lot of evidence and documentation we might be me adiaba. Na ya be church be papa yi etsa Ghana tikaninya odikogu ye nya no. Ye nim se bi o Panama no na se for. But anyway, e bia na OSP e your mojuma. It sometimes so jumping tentem on we na akoka nsem bia na yempese obeka. Anaso minimum work dada. Oho. Until we hear OSP no nya na adwuma. So, maybe they will come out with something like Ghana in Liberty. Because for now, the Ghana phone be to do an antinema OSP and I say, but I think that we need to take our time and then do this kind of things. Because ultimately, Ghana is car and from Koshebaby and Cassie here. Into all the offshore accounts and up a paymo, we need to sometimes do our best and then bring it out. Yeah, so much, Charlie. Ghana. I am about to do. Ubi ne kind na do na ne kind. I was Ghana. I am about to do. O man you hear mine. And so oko kind can see. I want here no oko kunya 17. Maybe I'll take my time for OSP to do his own research. But you Ken Ofori Atta so he needs to understand. Say mine enye won kwa wode. Into some of the offshore accounts, but we be at the question. We will have to go round and then bring all the details, Send a beya ubi or NPP ni kwa hwe obo say akwai de OSP uhia nampa. Because sometimes the one we are on just see your offshore account database bring me now when you dig deeper, ube huni Ken Ofori Atta Ken nanaya edi etua offshore account in na. All the documents in go one day we might decide to bring it out. Na if de yaba be check. Na obi NPP ni e na wo hwe ba hwe wie na until the money be say we so kwa no kwa didi watem because this is data. Me the two will be on be the name. The name so take your time to also go and do your own research. Into the data never ba. Na mudu bo me na to challenge the mai. You ko pick data never ba. Near the data aba be adwuma no. So sometimes this is how we're going to do it. But the other investigative bodies Ken Ofori Atta. So let's leave it with them. Now if but the database on offshore accounts it is there intact. We might at the point, also bring it out. Now, if you be discussing. So that was part of the discussion, and then I'm but I have been prompted to say, investigative bodies and if they also need some other documents from us, we can also give it out to them. So that is what we need to be doing gradually. In 1 hour with Munufie and let me the basic question be take your time in the comment section. na fabra na afidi in and nkomo. That is what I want. Enti medamase nyankopon eni obia entena. Priscilla medamu nyina ase why my idea someone name atena ebisi ende. Bye bye ebusianfo.
I would say to the people of Ghana, I'm sorry. We are sorry for the poor work we have done. We're going to go and think about ourselves.
Jimmy for party job. Only share.
What's your MPP then?
A Jimmy for party.
A Jimmy for party in the Anonia Dodo.
Oh, me Gina President Kufu when you crash and Becala.
Now, Jimmy for party now, Bulgaria, also your MPP Nino.
Oh, and I said, me resume Jimmy.